out there, and it's as if he's the only one running.
Well, I tell you, the ad that he's running in New Hampshire, and you talked about this with Wendell a few minutes ago, has caused something of a stir because of words out of President Obama's mouth quoting a McCain aide that the Democrats say was dishonest of the Romney campaign to put on TV. But what this ad does is communicate something larger. On a day when the candidates are going to be debating here in D.C., they're 11th among the Republicans for the GOP nomination. Romney is welcoming President Obama to New Hampshire and waging sort of a political proxy fight there as if he's already the nominee. And the controversy around the ad only serves to get it on TV even more. So, once again, Romney essentially trying to shelve the Republican rivalries and the rest of the panel and focus on President Obama, and he did it again today.
Indeed he did. Carl Cameron, thanks very much. Live from Capitol Hill. Let's bring in GOP strategist Jonathan Collegio. He's a former press secretary for the Republican Congressional Committee. Jonathan, great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
The one thing about baggage these days is you have to pay for it once it's checked. They're now checking Newt Gingrich's baggage, and I wonder if he's not going to have to pay.
You know, it's interesting. In that poll, it actually showed that Gingrich had very, very strong support among evangelical Christians, and you wonder, as his past record is kind of aired out again, whether that support will remain strong. One of the things that I think was very, very interesting in the poll, though, is that in Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney, you have the two Republican candidates who are spending the least amount of time attacking other Republican candidates and the most amount of time leveling their criticism back. I think both of these men recognize that 2012, insofar as it's a winnable election, will be a referendum on Obama, and they both recognize that, and they're both trying to turn all of their attention back on the president and what they say are his failed economic policies.
You talk to Republican insiders from Washington who know this game well, and they'll tell you, and you know it as well as I do, this is Mitt Romney's to lose, that Newt Gingrich is unelectable, and so are the rest of them. Do you subscribe to that notion?
Well, I don't necessarily subscribe to that notion, but I think that Romney positioning himself against President Obama, it's evident in that ad that he's running in New Hampshire, and I think that you see that with Gingrich too. Whenever Gingrich is asked kind of a challenging question, he'll direct it back to Obama. He'll say that Obama has failed to lead in the super committee, for example, or he'll direct it back at the news media. Both of these men recognize that successful challengers like Ronald Reagan in 1980 are able to cast the election as a referendum against the incumbent. You know, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That was how Reagan won in 1980. It's the economy, stupid. That was how Bill Clinton beat George H.W. Bush in 1992. If this is an election about Mitt Romney or Newt Gingrich, they're going to have a much harder time to win than if it's an election about the policies of President Obama.
Sometimes one of the things folks like you and other analysts look at this point in a campaign is, are you saying too many things to speak directly to your base so that later on you'll get hurt in a general election? To that, I just wonder how you feel like, for instance, Newt Gingrich's word to these Occupy protesters that they need to get a job after they take a bath, if something like that wouldn't come back to hurt him later.
You know, I don't know if that one will hurt them. One thing that you do see in Romney and Gingrich, though, is these guys are both the two best debaters in that Republican crowd. These debates we've had more debates than ever. They've had more eyeballs than ever, and candidates have risen and fallen according to their performance in the debates more than ever. And that's why I'm very, very excited to see this debate tonight, because you have a candidate in Mitt Romney who's weathered all the criticism from his Republican rivals, and Gingrich is kind of natural-born Roman orator who would, you know, like to have debates that lasted all day if he could. We have two very, very talented candidates there, and I'm very, very excited to see the debate tonight.
All right, Jonathan. Jonathan, great to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right. Well, coming up, a big mystery in the state of Florida after a woman there vanished the same day an episode of The People's Court featuring her aired on television. Now police are investigating whether there is a connection. Arthur and Randy are here. They'll yell at each other and something. I don't know. Stand by.
This program is brought to you by 21st Century Insurance. The same great coverage for less. Visit 21st.com.
21st Century Insurance here with our fastest way yet to prove that you're spending too much money on your car insurance. This car is covered by Progressive, this one by 21st. Both cars have the same coverage, same damage, and now the same fast repairs. But here's the difference. Drivers who switched from Progressive to 21st saved an average of $535 a year. Call 888-GET-2121. 21st Century Insurance. The same great coverage for less.
If you can afford this much new flooring, right now, you can get this much.
Empire's 60% off sale is on again. You won't want to miss it. Choose from quality name brands right at home and get 60% off with no interest for 1 year. It's a great offer. Plus, we install next day.
Talk about making your money go further.
60% off is huge. Call